Mailbag item number 7. Earlier this podcast, I mentioned talking about numbers and looking at numbers. We were talking about market caps back then. Well, here's Nate from Oakland, California writing, "Hi, David. I've noticed that you, compared to other of your fellow podcast hosts, spend much less time discussing financials or other numbers, except market cap. But perhaps this is only because numbers don't lend themselves to the podcast format as much. I'm curious, as you're evaluating stocks, how much time you spend poring over numbers, financials, and trends compared to how much time you spend researching the market, reading, listening, watching material from the leadership, reading SEC filings, etc. I feel like I've been slowly developing my own process," Nate writes, "for evaluating stocks, but I'm wondering what your process is like, or does your process depend on the nature of the company you are evaluating? Thanks." Nate from Oakland, California. Well, thank you, Nate. Thanks for writing in. Really 2 points I want to make here, Nate. The first one is, yeah, I love numbers. I care a lot about numbers, and every stock that I pick for Rule Breakers and Stock Advisor, I've had one or more analysts, often multiple analysts here at the Motley Fool, vetting them. I've designed my own template in which those analysts type in their reactions. Critically important are the income statement, the balance sheet, and the statement of cash flows. We pull key numbers off of those. Nothing really subtle here, no secret sauce. I like to see sales growth. I like to see the profit margins of a company. I like to know how much company cash is sitting on the balance sheet and how much company debt might be sitting on the balance sheet. I like to know if the company's cash flow positive or not. Sometimes companies are generating cash flow but look like they're losing money because their earnings are negative. Amazon was that way for a long time. I like to notice that. And I like to do ratios and see growth rates. Never anything more than 5th grade math, as I've been wont to say in the past. So yes, I love numbers. Numbers matter a lot. You're right. It's not the most interesting thing to rock on a podcast. I'd far rather share stories on my mailbag than lots of numerical answers. And when we're going to do authors in August, which we're going to do in a couple of months, where I have authors back just like I did last August, this coming August, I'll be mentioning that at the end of this podcast, get you a short reading list going. But I like to talk with authors, and we're not talking, maybe we'll mention dates or factual numbers, but we're not just spewing numbers. We're not technical investors here, but we are fundamental investors. And so I care deeply about the numbers behind the companies that I recommend. And of course, I care deeply about the numbers they generate for us as investors. So that's point number 1. Yes, it counts, but you're right. It's not great for podcast in my experience. And then finally, point number 2 is, even though you and I use numbers, I hope, you're talking about developing your own process, Nate, so I hope you're using numbers in your process. My actual belief is that most of the world is running the numbers. Most of the investment world is very numerically driven. And then they have algorithms that are searching for certain numbers in screens and then trade, sometimes within a second, inside of a second, trade in and out of stocks based on all the numbers. And so I'm never going to try to compete with that. Not only that, I don't want to. It's so short term and it would be so exhausting. I have no interest in it. So I think our real edge often as foolish investors comes from the right side of our brain, from seeing what the world is not seeing, from projecting things forward, from thinking about whether that brand is a winning or losing brand, or whether that ad causes you to want to be part of that organization or not, or whether the leadership is innovative. And by the way, who is running the company? These things are not expressed on the balance sheet, income statement, or statement of cash flows. It's those right brain things often that I think give us our edge. So I hope you'll make that part of your process too. And that's what I do a lot on Rule Breaker Investing. I present that part for our podcast because I just think it's more fun to talk about, and it's ultimately where I think more of our value lives.